Have you ever sat staring at a blank screen trying to come up with ideas for your next blog post? Sometimes that idea tank is just as dry as a bone, isn't it? Well, on this episode of Ducker Zone, I'm going to show you how to generate a consistent stream of blog post ideas so you're never left hanging again. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ducker Zone. I am your extremely gracious host, Chris Ducker, and today we're talking all about blogging. This episode is in fact actually brought to you via one of our viewers, Ian from London, who tweeted a while back asking for ideas on how to overcome blogging block, as he called it. So this one's for you, Ian, along with all of our other fellow bloggers out there as well. Now, I'll admit, I'm not always full of ideas myself. I'm sure everyone out there has felt the same way from time to time, and it is a little stressful, let's face it. We all know the value of creating great quality content, but that doesn't make it any easier to stare at a blank screen and try and figure it all out week by week. So here's a little strategy that I use that will ultimately open up the floodgates for you when it comes to your blogging and really being as consistent as possible with your blogging, because that's where the key to blogging success lies more than anything else. But before I go into that, let me just say, just as a little caveat here, before you start churning out loads of ideas, let me be 100% clear that you must absolutely know your audience first. You've got to know who you're writing for before you write a single word, and everything will go so much more smoothly if you do. In fact, actually, my good friend Joe Polizzi in this book, Content Inc., talks just about that, along with a load of other great stuff. It's a very good book. I suggest you go check it out. So why do you need to know your audience? Well, because they're the ones that are showing up to read it, of course, right? It's a waste of time to create things that have no real defined readership. But it's one of the best investments you'll ever make to actually spend time getting to know your audience and what they truly want and need from you. And for what that's worth, you should know that probably around 90% of people searching for solutions online are complete beginners to your topic, your expertise, your industry, your niche, whatever. They're Googling because they don't actually know the first thing about the solutions that are available for their problems on your blog. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's do a quick idea generating experiment. Now, because I'm in the personal branding space, let's say I'm trying to come up with new blog post ideas about personal branding. Now, keeping in mind, however, that my audience is made up of mostly beginners to the idea of personal branding, I'm going to start with the 5 W's, as I call them, to come up with 5 post ideas pretty much instantly. So, here we go. You ready? Are you ready? Good. What is a personal brand? Why do you need a personal brand? Who is a personal brand for? When is the right time to launch a personal brand? And where should you spend your personal brand building budget? See how easy it was. In fact, that was very easy to come up with 5 blog post ideas pretty much instantly just with the W's. But maybe you can see how as soon as you frame blog posts as a question, more questions can't help but crop up as well. It's very normal, and it's actually a very good thing. So look at these for some additional questions on top of that. What is a personal brand? Where does everyone go wrong when they're building their personal brands? What should more entrepreneurs know before launching a personal brand? And what are the best kept secrets of successful personal brand builders? Now, I think you can probably see where I'm going with this, but basically start with one of the 5 W's to pretty much unleash a torrent of questions one after the other. Now, here's a look at what it might look like to start with how questions, which, if you haven't noticed, are pretty much the primary focus of most of my own personal content that I create and market online. So, how should personal brand entrepreneurs use social media? How to take every Friday off and still grow your business? How you should launch your first book successfully? How can outsourcing help you double your income in the next 12 months? How should you gauge success in the first year of your business? Now, these types of questions can actually inspire an entire blog post or a podcast episode or a video, whatever medium you're actually working with. But the headlines, the titles, will need their own treatment. And for me, that means using the headline analyzer at CoSchedule. Now, don't worry, I'm going to link to it right below the video here. But if you're looking for a tool that can help you craft really brilliant titles that factor in things like a little bit of SEO and some power action-based words, that's the way to go. I've been using it for ages, and it's really helped me when I've got stuck when it comes to the titles of my content. But the best part about brainstorming with the 5 W's and the H's, if you remember the hows, is that it's literally an ever-expanding way to come up with ideas. You'll never run out of ideas. People are curious. We have questions for ourselves and others that we come into contact with all day long. And tapping into that is extremely powerful. Now, if you've got a question you'd like to fire at me, drop me a message on social media where I'm all about Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, 123, and be sure to use the hashtag DuckerZone, and I could be turning what you have to ask me into a future episode of the show. I'll see you next week. Until then, pick up a copy of this great book from my good buddy Joe Polizzi at the Content Marketing Institute. It's called Content Inc. You can grab it on Amazon, and I will be back at you again very, very soon. Bye for now.